Now, dear students and job seekers, here I welcome you once again to this short video on approaches to initiate a GD. Now, last time some of you had asked me about, what are the trendy topics. To give you some idea about, I have given you some illustrative list of topics on trendy topics, right? Now, today I respond to yet another question from a group of my students very close to me. They are in touch with me, What they have asked me is, what is the right approach to initiate a GD? Okay. Now, should they directly go into the top, position and state what their positions are, whether they are supporting or opposing, or should they wait, adopt some other new ways? So, I will be responding to this question in this particular video. Now, in GD, experts suggest, and the practice is actually, there are two approaches to begin. First approach is clearly stating your position from the very outset for clarity and direction and why it is so. Because it establishes your own understanding of the topic and also allows other participants to understand what your stands are or what is your perspective. Okay. Let's take an example here. I support reservation policy to continue in India till the equity in society is achieved. One more, I strongly believe we should not privatize the PSUs, public sector banks. So, what the participant is doing, he is stating the very position or what is his stand on this issue from the beginning itself, and then trying to logically, prove why he says so with his own logical arguments, be it for or against. Now, let us take an example here, right? In the first approach where the participant is stating his or her position from the beginning itself very clearly. Now, suppose the topic of GD is, should India host the 2036 Olympics, right? So, you can take a stand on either for or against, right? And state your position very clearly from the beginning itself, right? As I said, you can go either for or against. Suppose you are taking a stand that you are supporting that India should host the 2036 Olympics. Then how you make your point very clear from the beginning? Friends, I would say yes, India should host 2036 Olympics. So, you have made your very stand very clear. But stopping here won't do. So, you have to justify why are you supporting for the 2036 Olympics to be conducted in India. So, what are you stating? Hosting the Olympics is a prestigious event for any nation, right? And if we are hosting it, then we are putting India in the world stage. Likewise, the game can stimulate economic growth through tourism development, job creation, and many more. Hosting Olympics can inspire a new generation of athletes, right? Olympics can act a catalyst for broader urban development and modernization. Now, these are all some of the arguments you can put in your favor, but you are making your point very clear from the beginning itself that yes, friends, I would support India hosting the 2036 Olympics in the country. But suppose you are taking a stand against it. Again, here also you are stating your position very clearly, right, from the beginning. Dear friends, no, I am against hosting Olympics or any such events in India for now or also in near future. Why I say so? The cost of holding or hosting a Olympic can be substantial, potentially, straining our public finance. Secondly, construction of the games, infrastructure, all these are going to result in displacement of communities and it may cause environmental damage. Our priority has never been sports all through. What is our priority? we have always been giving priority for our poverty eradication, development, building infrastructure, okay, industries, bringing up our agriculture. So, we should not unnecessarily spend money on sports. That will also be a loss in the work and productivity. This is what I feel. Suggest why? Because employees may skip their job and go to watch, sports events in different, different forums or different places that India is going to or likely to hold. Resources that could have been utilized for other development purpose will unnecessarily get diverted for sports. As I said, sports was never and is never our priority according to me. Okay. Now, what have you done here? You have taken the stand from the very beginning itself and then tried to justify why have you either supported or you have opposed the proposition. Now, let us take one more example where you are adopting a direct approach. You are making your stands very clear from the beginning itself. Suppose the topic is China a threat to India's economic growth? Then you will also have to take a stand from the beginning itself if you are adopting the first approach. So, what you say? Yes, friends, China has and will always be a threat to India. Okay? You have made your point very clear. Then you are going to justify repeated intrusion and then retreat by China from Indian territory. For example, in Galwan River Valley along the LOC, we have seen in recent past. India has posted close to 60,000 troops along the Chinese border. This itself goes to prove that we are always expecting a threat from China. Thirdly, China along with India is an emerging superpower. It is possible that they might want to invade to block us in the progress. Okay? Likewise, since the Chinese war in 1962, right, there has always been a tension between India and China. Okay? Not only India but also our neighboring states of Tibet, Bhutan, right, many other countries. Now, economically also they have something to gain if they pose a threat to us. What is that? China's competitive pricing strategy because of their labor cost is very low. Okay? So, they can capture a great deal of Indian market. As you know, India serves as a very major market, which is why Britishers had ruled us for so many centuries. Next, India relies heavily on China for various goods, including electronics, pharmaceuticals, and very likely that they can blackmail us. Since the war in 1962, China has always been a source of tension for India, right? Therefore, I strongly believe that China is a real threat to India's economic growth. Now, suppose you are taking a stand in the other way around. That means you feel that no, China is not a challenge, not a threat to India. So, you are going to make it very clear from the beginning itself. What do you say? No, dear friends, dear participants, I don't believe China is a threat to India. Okay. See, India has progressed very fast. India's Make in India campaign aims to boost domestic manufacturing and reduce imports. We are also having a labor cheap economy. Why should we be so scared of China? India's large and growing domestic, market will provide us enough, to sell our own products. We have recently launched something called Atmanirbhar Bharat as claimed by India, so that, we can self-sustain. Now, again, I also feel that now that USA has adopted a so-called trade war against both India and China, right? So, it is more likely that we are going to collaborate, China and India, rather than fight among ourselves. Next, also, we have very strong ties with Russia, right? And China too have a good relations with them. So, in case China is, contemplating any threat for India, I think Russia will strongly come in our favor, and there won't be any real threat to us. For economic reasons also, which my friends have cited, that they pose a challenge to India, threat to India, but the very same reason, China will never try fight again with us. Forget about 62, right? China poses a challenge to us, but never a threat, okay? Because they are also exploiting our huge market, okay? Therefore, I feel that China is not a threat to India or economic growth of India. So, you are taking in either these two examples what I gave you is, you are taking a stand from the very beginning, okay, that is a direct approach. But as I said, that is a second approach, okay. What you do? You approach the problem in an indirect way. You don't state your position from the beginning itself. What are you doing? You are defining the topic, you are introducing the topic, okay, and you are adopting something called a logical approach as to why you are taking a stand either for or against, okay. Now, let us say a topic is, should reservation in job continue in India, okay. So, because it is an indirect approach, mind you, what are you doing? Friends, we are a backward community, and why are they remain so, right? We all agree how the so-called backward community, okay, have remained neglected due to the fault of our ancestors who have exploited in various ways, dividing them in castes, creed, okay. Post-independence, our philosophy has been plan, policies, everything, focuses on growth, equity and justice. Therefore, if we want to achieve these objectives, we need to extend the policy of reservations in jobs and educational institutions till an equity is achieved. So, what have you done in this case? You have actually not taken a stand from the beginning itself. You have defined what the problem is, what a backward community is, okay, why have they remained backward, and then ultimately stated your position that you support reservation to continue, okay. Let us take another example here, dear students. Now, sometimes recruiters are more tempted to ask nowadays, particularly to the management graduates, whether smart work is better or hard work is better. So, they put it like this, your topic for the today is smart work versus hard work, which is better, right? So, again you are adopting a indirect way, right? You are never stating you are not going to state your position from the beginning itself. So, how do you introduce or define the topic? You say that working hard and working smarts are two different approaches to completing a task. Now, first you are going to define or explain what hard work is. So, you said that hard work principle says if you want to be successful, you have to put in long hours of work. In hard working, you arrive early in your organization and leave late after you complete the job or assignment. Hard work involves manual labor or intensive mental job depending on whether you are in the blue collar or white collar job. Now, after explaining this, right, you can go and take a stand, right. Now, but you have to also explain what smart work is. So, you can say smart work, dear friends, are less strenuous, less effort required and less laborious, okay. Smart workers use creativity or creative methods to save time and observe economy. In smart work, one often looks for shortcuts to complete the job quickly and with less of efforts, okay. A smart worker delegates tasks and prioritize work and streamline the process also. Now, having said so, now you are coming to your stand. Okay. Now, you are actually supporting that hard work is better minded, but you are not to state it from the beginning. So, how do you proceed? Dear fellow participants, I would say hard work is the first step towards smart work. Here you have given some indication, but again you are not very clearly stating your position. Though hard work we gain experience, it helps us to discover many new things. Through hard work we gain experience and also able to discover many new processes or things. There is no shortcut to success, right? People say shortcut will cut you short. Also, hard work teaches us discipline, dedication and determination. Okay? To achieve anything in life, continuous hard work, according to me, is a must. You are also, going ahead with more, logical explanation of your stand. What I am saying, hard work provides us mental satisfaction also, particularly when we achieve the success. Okay? Hard work also is good for our health. One can keep fit. Okay? And as well as we find that somebody who works smartly are basically lazy persons because they adopt shortcut ways. This is your stand, right? Smart work encourages procrastination. What does it mean? You are putting off doing the job for tomorrow which you should have been doing today. Okay? Friends, let me remind you that smart work demands shortcuts, and again the same quote, that is, shortcut will cut us short. Okay? Also, I would say that, be it sports or be it celebrities in any profession, they have achieved something or success only because of their hard work. Therefore, I believe and I would always say that hard work is a better option as compared to smart work. So, at the end you are stating your position here. Okay? But suppose you are taking the other way around, that means you feel that smart work is better than hard work. Then also you are not going to your stand very clear, you are not making your points very clear. You are also adopting an indirect way. So, how do you begin? Friends, I would like to quote Bill Gates, who once said, I would choose a lazy person to do a difficult job because he would find a way to accomplish it very easily. Okay? Because lazy persons always try to, do things, right, easily, and that means what he is hinting at, that smart people are better. So, I will choose somebody who is not a hardworking person, rather I will choose someone who is a smart worker. Okay? Secondly, in the fast-paced 21st century, we need work smartly, not toiling hard, particularly when there are simpler alternatives to achieve the same goal. Okay? If you are not smart, you work hard, then also it won't pay off, right? For instance, donkeys are valued less than horse. Donkeys, they are symbol of hard work. Donkeys work hard, as the master says, whereas the horse do listen to their masters, but then they do something, very smartly, applying on their own mind. Smart work saves time, energy, resources, and also gets recognized very fast, quickly. A smart worker uses his or her brain to do things differently, which we call as innovation, find new ideas, process, methods, and gets rewarded by the employer. Nowadays, most of the recruiters, in the changing business world, like to hire smart workers, not hard workers. So, again, I say at the end that it is not enough to remain busy just like ants. The question should be, what are we busy all about? That means I am supporting smart work, not hard work. So, you see these are the two alternative ways where you can initiate your GD and justify your stance. It all depends on how convincing you are, right. But here my objective was just to explain you that you can take either of the two approaches to begin or initiate a GD. Now, both approaches actually are appropriate in separate context. Take for instance, there is a very short time given to you, 10 minutes time, and you have people, right, more than 10, 12 people put in a particular group. So, what are you going to do? You better approach a direct, use the direct approach, make your stand very clear from the beginning itself. Yes, friends, I support it, or yes, fellow participants, I cannot agree with these statements. That means I oppose it. But if the candidates are not too many, say 6, right, and time allotted is enough, 20-25 minutes. So, better adopt the second approach, that is the indirect approach. Introduce, define the topic, and then go on explaining what you mean, right, and why at all you are taking a stand, either support or oppose, right. So, that you can adopt either of the two, there is nothing wrong or right. So, how you approach, and that is it for the day. Thank you. We will meet again in the next video. Thank you.